guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel at Peterson Makeover. Today I'm joined with we're going to be checking out Jordan Peterson, progressive student was left speechless. Wow. Like I'm just trying to imagine how he would do it because I know he's a savage. So without further ado, let's get started.
So my question is, as a redeemed progressive, what is the key to empowering men in the Me Too age while maintaining healthy boundaries and strong behavioural expectations?
We've had relatively reliable birth control since 1960. Okay, that's not very long. And we underestimate the unbelievable technological triumph of birth control.
Okay.
It's the hydrogen bomb. It's the transistor. Like, it's a major league transformation in human interaction. Women are now free from involuntary reproduction. That's never been the case in the entire history of the planet. Okay, we don't know exactly what to do about that. Okay, so the first idea in the 60s was, hell, let's party. And you could see why. It's like what the rules for not engaging in promiscuous sexual intercourse seemed to have vanished. So we had a couple of decades of experimentation. It's like, well, how'd that go? Little hard on the family, I would say. That's not so good for kids. AIDS, that wasn't a plus. Could have killed us all. And it mutated, particularly to take advantage of promiscuous sex, because viruses are very tricky things. So it turns out that sex is a little bit more complicated than we thought. Well, it actually turns out that it's a lot more complicated than we think. Okay, and now it's 50, 60 years later, and we're trying to sort this out. It's like, well, when is it okay to have sex? Exactly. And when is it not okay to have sex? And what does it mean that it's okay? And what does consent mean? And the answer to that is, well, we never used to have to think these things through because the rule was don't have sex until you get married. Yeah. That was the rule. Now that isn't the rule. Okay, so what's the rule? Well, we're not having a conversation about the rule. We're waiting till someone does something that seems like it might be untoward and then mobbing them and trying to extract the rule out that way. And it's not a very effective way of doing it. You want to decrease campus rape? That's easy. Get rid of alcohol. No one has that conversation. It's like I did my PhD work on alcohol. 50% of the people who are murdered are drunk. And 50% of the people who kill them are drunk. And almost all the date rape situations are consequences of excess intoxication. But yet there's a party culture on campuses and anything goes. And you also have this strange thing, especially on the radical left, which is unbelievably paradoxical, where absolutely every form of sexual expression imaginable is 100% permissible because sex is fine, but it's so dangerous that while you're dancing with someone at a Princeton mixer, you have to ask them 2 or 3 times if it's okay for you to continue. And that's actually the case, by the way. I'm not making that up. It's like, well, both of those things can't be true. Now, what's happening, I think, on the Me Too end of things and the affirmative consent end of things is the old sexual taboos are reasserting themselves. Mm-hmm. The idea that we can extract sex out from emotional intimacy, and especially emotional intimacy, I would say, psychological intimacy, maybe even from long-term relationship, I don't believe it's a tenable idea. I don't think we can do it. And a lot of what we're seeing is the backlash against that. It's like, well, I feel used. Because one of the things that's happening on the really radical end of the anti-sexual abuse movement is the idea that, well, if you have intercourse with someone and then you regret it the next day, that's evidence that it wasn't consensual. Well, it is, in a sense, evidence that it wasn't consensual because it's evidence that you didn't bloody well think it through, right? It was good for last night, but it's not good for today. It's not very wise. the question is, well, what constitutes consent? And we need to have a very serious conversation about that. Like, under what circumstances is it acceptable to give consent? But we're not mature enough to have that conversation. We want it both ways. We want to be able to do whatever we want, with whoever we want, whenever we want, with no consequences, and we want there never to be any trouble about consent. It's like, well, no, that's not going to happen. I don't think that sex works very well outside of committed relationships. I don't think there's any evidence that it does. There's a strong proclivity across cultures for the enforcement, social enforcement of long-term monogamy. And there's reasons for that. And I think you deviate from that at your peril. So now, if you want to deviate from that, there's all sorts of reasons to do it. And I can understand why people are interested in adventure and all of that. But, my sense also as a clinician is, you only really get to try out about 5 people in your life. You have to make a decision pretty damn quick. Like between 20 and 30, there's a lot of things to get straight, and long-term mate is usually one of them. And most of the time, people should be more careful with their sexual behavior when they're young, especially when they're drunk, than they are. And I just think it's so interesting that all of the taboo reconstruction is coming from the radical left. It's not what you'd expect at all. You'd think it'd be the damn right-wing Christians complaining about, sexual immorality. It's like, no, it's the radical lefties. You have to have signed consent before making any physical move. And then that's so what? Really? Who thought that up? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. You know how awkward that would be? You're supposed to be able to do a little bit of nonverbal reading, right? I mean, that's part of romance. You ever see a movie where the 2 people who are dating exchange consent notes? Like, that doesn't happen. So it's an unrealistic solution. But I think the real solution is that despite the fact that we have reliable birth control, we're going to have to relearn what the acceptable rules of propriety are with regards to sexual relationships. One of the things I often tell my young clients is, don't do anything physically with anyone that you wouldn't talk to them about. Because if you're too damn embarrassed to talk about it, well, maybe it's a little premature in the relationship to actually do it. And then there's harm in it. There's emotional harm in it on both parties. There's the cheapening of both parties. So it's going to take us a long time to sort this out. But hopefully we can do it in a serious manner, and it won't be merely a matter of mobbing those who seem to have made an error. So
that's true. When it comes to relationship, it's very complicated. Very, very complicated. And basically, I think when it comes to sex, we take it too lightly these days. Except, let me say, you yourself, you don't really care. That's a different thing. Like, if you're just having fun and you're not going to complain about it, then okay, that's your own way of having fun. But we take sex too playful these days. Let me see. Just go out right now and then you see someone, you sleep with them. Then what I get annoying, like, you come back and you regret, they're like, oh, he used me or she took advantage of me. You consented. You're like, oh, I didn't, but you let the person do whatever they do. Especially when you are, I'm not saying this basically about people that they do. I'm saying that normal people that
you just
had
go, you
sex with
totally
someone,
go there.
enjoyed it and feel bad after and feel like it wasn't consensual. It's just kind of weird because I know one thing about me, whenever I know I go out, I drink, I'm very cautious about myself. I know sometimes you need to let loose a little, laugh, enjoy it, but I'm very conscious about what I do outside. I'm out of the walls of my house, especially when it comes to drinking. I don't drink to the extent that I will have to be vomiting outside of my house because you don't know how you're going to act when you're drunk, especially when you're not home.
You can't predict.
And you can't say, "Oh, I'm with my friends," because you can't put the responsibility of your own safety on someone else's hand. Because you may be my friend, but if we keep on going out every time and I keep getting drunk and I vomit everywhere, I keep frustrating you, I don't think you want to be going out with me continuously. Be like, you're not serious. You're not ready to take accountability of your own actions, and you're putting it on me. Because if I wake up the next day and I'm not home, the first person I'll call will be you, and I'll be like, "You left me. You didn't take care of me." Then you'll be like, "You are grown. You are old enough to hold yourself accountable for the decisions you make." And I know all jokes and all play. I know we in our 20s we want to have fun. We want to chill. We want to be able to explore. We want to know the things we like and things we don't like. But those things, it all comes with consequences. It all comes with um, responsibility. No matter what you're doing, let's say your habit makes up who you are. No matter the side you're going, if you choose to be like this, if you choose to be like that, it will definitely add up to your future. It will definitely mold you to who you are going to become tomorrow. So when it comes to this um multiple sexual partner, when it comes to having fun, living life, doing those things, there's always consequences for it. Because if you think having casual sex is going to be cool and then tomorrow you feel bad about it and you're like, I feel I didn't consent, so let's be writing the form. Even if you write that form, don't be realistic. Even if people are to sign those forms, like, okay, I consent to have sex with you and I do it maybe when they're drunk. What difference does it make when you're signing the form when you're drunk? Okay, you do it when you're drunk and then you sleep with that person, the next day you still feel bad. What are you going to do next? Are you going to sign a stronger form? Because it's just real. It's normal when you do things without emotions. Like when you remove emotion from sex, I don't know what is left of it. When you remove the intimacy, the emotional feelings
Affection.
from sex, I don't know what you're leaving behind from it. Because what is there? I don't know. I think people are different because I don't know how you can just sleep with someone that you don't have feelings for, someone you don't find attractive. Because even if you don't have feelings for someone, you can at least find them attractive. But it's cool. Jordan Peterson really answered it well, and I feel we should be mindful of decisions we make, and we should be able to hold ourselves accountable when it doesn't turn out right. What do you think?
And I feel you should just get careful whenever before doing things. You might say, okay, I'm going to just have fun. I'm going to have fun. Then you end up having sex with somebody you can never imagine to have sex with. Like, then you end up regretting, oh, why did I do that? Why did I do that? But you've already done it. So it has already been done.
Your sex was
Then
not consensual.
you end up regretting. Yes, so I just think you should just be careful
But
in
when
your
it comes to
decision in your ways.
the AIDS and the sexual
Mm.
transmitted disease, what do you think about that?
Yeah, what?
Like you see, because of the see now we have birth control, so you can just take birth control whenever you're having sex and stuff like that. Then I think most people don't tend to use condoms because you can use the birth control.
Yeah,
So
that's the reason why AIDS is now becoming kind of rampant because people don't really use condoms when it comes to sex. They just feel like let's just do it, but end up making a mistake, and that mistake is going to can last you up to your lifetime, which is and you might end up having AIDS, sexual transmitted
I feel
disease,
people are more scared of getting pregnant or impregnating someone than
than
sexual transmitted disease.
because after the sex, you'll be, they might be like, okay,
Take a
you need
pill.
to take
You need to
take
take
a
a pill.
pill.
But they're not
Without going back to the hospital to check if you are safe.
like they're not even scared about the fact that they may get sexual transmitted. They're just scared about the fact that they may get pregnant. They're scared
You
of
don't want to, you don't
responsibility
want
at
to
the
have
end of the day.
any baby when you're not ready. See?
Um,
Yeah.
but we just pray, we learn from all these things we keep watching. But guys, thank you so much for this video. We did enjoy it and we'd
Yeah,
love
we
to
did.
see more of Jordan Peterson. So do let us know what take what our reaction. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share our videos. We see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.